Welcome back to the Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Starting lineup, it is Kip Keefer, it is the legend, it is Tony Curry. Every Saturday morning here at ABC 3340, one of the big four, baby. We're on some network television that goes all the way up till football season, and then through it, we'll be on a half an hour right before that huge ABC SEC tryst that goes on every single Saturday morning at 11 o'clock right here on ABC 3340. We've got our own little segments we do, and one's called Kip Perspective. What you got going on, Kip Perspective?
Kip Perspective, I am going to look ahead. I am ready for fast forward. I'm going to talk about some of the early season matchups I am really excited to see.
All right. Legend, what are we doing in the cave today, my man?
I'm going to talk about the SEC meetings. The SEC came out this week and said, we may take our ball and go home. Well, I'm going to tell you how the fans feel about that in the Legend Cave, Tony.
I cannot wait to hear that. And on the heels of that, I'm going to get into some different type of rules. We're getting rid of the cupcake rule. We now have a Lane Kiffin rule. I want to get into a Josh Jacobs rule.
Nice.
And also a Kyle Busch rule, and also a Major League Baseball cap rule I'd like to get into. They're already talking about Major League Baseball now because, of course, the contract runs through this year. We're already a third of the way through the season, and they're like, let's not have another screw up. Let's actually figure out what we're doing. But one of those things, of course, is going to be the luxury cap. So we'll talk about that a little bit.
If you know it's coming, why can't you deal with it now?
You know, eventually you are going to make some type of agreement. So just buckle up, say, hey, listen, let's just get this done. And if everyone's making tons of money, of course, one of the things is, of course, their minimum amounts. I think they want $1.5 million as their Major League Baseball. So could you make it off of $1.5 million a year?
Well, Tony, that is one of the fans' problem, is that the leadership in these sports is supposed to be the brightest and the most intelligent, greater over the fan. We got nothing compared to these people, but yet they're in constant battle, unable to make agreements. It's really disappointing to the average fan.
It really is. And for the average fan who now has to continue to pay $200, $300, $400 to go see a FIFA match, and they're not even sold out, while everyone's making millions and millions of dollars to be a utility player in Major League Baseball, doesn't make sense. One guy who was just a fantastic player and a great driver, got a chance to meet him several times, and just, wow, one of those, did I just see that come across the news? We lost Kyle Busch this past week at the age of 41. Your thoughts?
41 years old. And, you know, the media, as it always does, because at first there was a lot of speculation of what caused his untimely death. And at 41, that's extremely untimely. At the top of his game, he just won a NASCAR truck race the Friday before passing away just a couple of days later. But, you know, there was a lot of things, a lot of attention paid to the transmission he made in his last NASCAR regular start last Saturday of, I'm going to need the doctor standing by at the end of this. And they said, well, he must have known how sick he was. But I really liked what Kyle Petty came on and said, you guys don't understand. That's standard procedure.
Yeah.
These guys are out there for hours. You get just dehydrated. You're short on breath. Your blood pressure is just soaring because you're under such constant pressure and stuff. He says, that's not unusual. He says, so don't read too much into that. But it turned out it was a development. He's walking around with pneumonia for several weeks. And how, with all the medical attention and this is a professional athlete, how is that not detected where it could develop into sepsis, which eventually killed him? I mean, it's just terrifying. And it just goes to show you once again, and I was guilty of it at that age too, don't neglect your health, guys. If something's wrong, get it addressed and get it.
Well, one of the things too, and you mentioned the fact that he had pneumonia. He had a sinus infection a couple of weeks ago, and that he was bleeding, coughing up blood. And the problem with that is you're going through 3, 4, 5 Gs, even in a truck race, and just that pressure of feeling what that pressure must feel like. Coming from a guy with a nose like mine, I can tell you, it can kill you. It can kill you for sure.
Well, we just want to say to the whole family, what a great loss, and our prayers and thoughts are with
sure.
Yeah, we got a monster show for you today. Kip Perspective, the Legend Cave. We'll get into some rules on bone fragments. We're going to go out there and do the Case Kiefer. We're getting ready for the Belmont next week. We got FIFA going on. We got college football about 100 days away. It's going to be another monster show right here on ABC 3340. This is the starting lineup. Thanks for watching.
Step back into the groove and then into the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Check this out. It's all happening here.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino is the local place to win.
Good times right here.
Let the Birmingham Racecourse Casino bring the good times to you. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where the good times roll.
Where you could be a winner too. Yeah, boy.
Hey, it's Case Kiefer back again for another edition of the Vegas Heaters as part of the starting lineup. I'm a longtime sports bettor, sports betting writer, and sports editor for Greenspun Media Group, which includes Las Vegas Sun and Las Vegas Weekly. We've taken plenty of victory laps over the years in this segment. Unfortunately, we don't have a total tally, but I got to say we've probably up big time as far as hitting a bunch of futures over and over, doing well in football season as well. However, now it comes back around. We have to bring out the bad news. I don't know if there's ever been as bad of a week in history as the past week since the last time I talked to you on the Vegas Heaters. Yes, we have hit some regression. If we did have that all-time ledger, it would be pointing straight down this week. Some heartbreaking defeats and some we were just wrong about. Last week I came talking about all the races going on for Memorial Day weekend, trying to hit the triple, trying to hit all three. Instead, we went over. The one that really hurt, of course, was the Indianapolis 500, where at the time of recording, David Malukas as high as 12-1. I saw he closed about as low as plus 650 on Sunday. Loses in the closest Indianapolis 500 of all time. You almost can't make this stuff up. Just gets caught at the very end by Felix Rosenqvist. If it wasn't for the last caution, he probably wins easily. Now, in fairness, if it wasn't for two cautions ago, Rosenqvist probably wins. So those are the breaks sometimes. That one really hurt. Could have made up for a poor rest of the week. A lot of our futures have now gone up in flames. Of course, all the way back to the start of the NBA season, I was all in on the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference. They get to the Eastern Conference Final, up 20 on the Knicks in Game 1, but can't finish it off, and then just looked like a shell of themselves beyond that. That just broke them. So didn't even get a sweat out of that one. That one really hurt, but even more so, right with me, front and center, seeing all the games, being there here in Las Vegas, the team I've covered since way before their inception, the Golden Knights kill one of the best futures I think we've ever placed on this show, the Colorado Avalanche. I think a year ago at this time, bet them 12-1 to win the Stanley Cup, fired going back into the season on the Western Conference. They were historically dominant, especially on offense this year. It all screeches to a crashing halt in the Western Conference Final against the Vegas Golden Knights, who sweep them. Certainly didn't see the sweep coming. I knew it was going to be a tighter series, so I did hedge a little bit, took some VGK plus 1.5 games in the series. However, that doesn't really help my Stanley Cup position. Really hurts to lose that one, but I would change nothing process-wise as far as betting that 12-1 a year ago. It just hurts because these are the type of things you got to see beforehand. We only had two teams. I can't remember the last time I only had two teams to win the Stanley Cup all year, but we took the Lightning right before the season. We took the Avalanche, like I said, a year ago. To me, they were the two best teams all year. I just didn't really feel that urgency to start adding other teams to beef up my portfolio, which is really against, if you've watched this segment over the years, what I typically do. I like to nab off and have probably at least 5 all the way up to 8 teams going into the playoffs, just trying to pick off numbers. And maybe I should have kept going with that. Some people say you bet too many teams, but that's not the way I look at it. I like to build a more diversified portfolio where you find the right points to buy low on teams all throughout the year. But I just felt so confident with the Avalanche and the Lightning. They were so good all year. But hey, hockey's fickle. Crazy things can happen. The Avalanche obviously just were so beat up at the end of that Golden Knights series. The first 2 games, even the first 2.5 games, I think were really even. The Golden Knights just kind of got the breaks. But then by Game 4, the Avalanche, out of their top 6 players, top 6 superstar players, 4 of them were so far below 100% you couldn't expect them to win. The thing that's going to make this really tough is it looks like it's going to be Carolina, Vegas, in the Stanley Cup Final. And I think if I did keep that more portfolio approach, keep picking off teams at different points of the season, I think there's a good chance I might have been on these 2 teams. Maybe not Vegas, because their odds were so inflated all year. I just didn't think this team really showed enough in the regular season to really find an entry point in the betting market where they're still high. The one thing that could have landed me on them, where they were in a really weak division, the Pacific Division, had a great path to get to Colorado, and wasn't a terrible matchup for Colorado. I said that going into the series. There were some things that matched up with them well. I just didn't ultimately see them getting over it. Carolina, though, is really eating at me, because I swear if I go back through the records, and I don't even want to, I don't want to see it, but I've probably bet on them to be in the Stanley Cup Final 6 straight years. This looks like the year they're going to do it. Of course, that matchup at the time I'm recording, at least, is not confirmed yet. Still could go some other way, but Carolina about a 2-1 favorite. That's a little high for me. I don't think I would take Vegas outright, but maybe you're looking at a series spread there. Not great timing with our filming schedule as far as what we can take there, but I do think Carolina should be the favorite. Vegas has gotten hot lately, but Carolina's been dominant all throughout this playoffs. I would make it more in the 160, 170 range. They, of course, will have home ice advantage, so that's a big one. I favor Carolina, but again, not so high as the betting market right now, so it's hard to get involved right now. Hopefully we see some more Stanley Cup futures for the next year, and we can get in on one of those avalanche-type prices and see it work out next year. Maybe we actually cash go all the way through it. So sorry, not a segment high on picks and things of that nature this week, but I wanted to go through some process things, just what I'm thinking. These are the ups and downs that come with covering what I cover, doing what I do in sports betting. Some year everything breaks your way, some years things don't. So we had some good bets. David Malukas doesn't get there. The Colorado Avalanche doesn't get there. That's okay. We'll be back. I can't wait. It's about time to get into football season. I've already given out a couple bets. We're Notre Dame fans next year. We're Los Angeles Chargers fans next year in the NFL. As soon as June rolls around, I'll be knee deep in football. We'll give you some bets there. But for now, let's see what the rest of the starting lineup has. Thanks for checking out another edition of the Vegas Heaters.
Welcome back. This is Bone Fragments, and truly fragments today, because I'm going to be hitting on a bunch of little things. First of all, my thoughts and prayers go out to the Kyle Busch family. Again, whether you liked him or not, I know a lot of people did not like Kyle Busch. The M&M guy passed away at the age of 41, just way too young. I remember it kind of goes back to when, of course, the Intimidator passed away at the age of 49 after that Daytona 500 race. We could not believe that actually happened. This guy won over 200 races, raced across everything, including, of course, the Craftsman Truck Series, won 3 championships in NASCAR. It was something really, really special. So he was a polarizing guy in NASCAR, and it will certainly be missed. And I know he won a couple races there, the Talladega Super Speedway. Talladega fans, despite the fact how much they hated him, will certainly give him applause the next time they have a race there. Also wanted to get in some rules here. I don't know if you've heard about this, but the old cupcake thing, the cupcake schedule for me in college football is great, because that's the game I can afford to take my son to. The cupcake game, the Middle Tennessee States, those the Citadels, those kind of games like that. We love those games. And a lot of people say it's a cupcake, it's a winner. But you can't help but think some of the coaches absolutely love those games. They could bring in some of their recruits. They could put on the big old party. They could go second string, third string, fourth string. They could roll some things up. You'd have put someone like Cam Newton throw for 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. It padded numbers. It was great. And someone got a payday. Well, guess what? Because we've gone to the 9-game schedule now, the SEC has done away with a cupcake game. There are no more cupcake games, which means there's going to be a lot of schools out there that aren't getting paid anymore, and there will no longer be a cupcake game anymore in college football when it comes to the SEC, which I'm kind of bummed out about, because I think it is something exciting. Certainly for like a UAB, we get a chance to go play South Carolina or Georgia or something like that. That's great for not only the uniform, but it's great for UAB, and it's great for their back pockets. It gives them a chance to play some SEC foes. Not saying that UAB is a cupcake. Just saying. Also, the Lane Kiffin rule. Based on what Lane Kiffin did at the end of last season, he left Ole Miss, went to LSU, and he did it in the middle of the season. There is now a rule that is going down through Congress. It's called the Lane Kiffin rule, and they're saying that at no time can a coach leave a team while he's coaching it and go coach or work in any facilitation of any other type of team facilitation, any type of work, anything else during a football season. He must wait till the end of the year, which means that you may see guys like Lane Kiffin actually get to coach out the rest of the season. Of course, if the AD doesn't want to have anything to do with that, but that'd be really interesting. You wonder how many coaches would actually be talking to some people during the football season if they knew that if they got let go or they decided they wanted to move to LSU, they can't even do anything with LSU until after the season. They can't recruit, they can't do squats. So I think that's very, very interesting. Finally, I want to have a Josh Jacobs rule. I know this hit the NFL really hard about 10 or 15 years ago. We had all these guys beating up their wives and their girlfriends. It just got really, really ugly. And I don't know if there was something in the water. I don't know what it is. To even touch a woman is bad enough. I don't care who you are. If you're Pee Wee Herman and you hit your wife, shame on you. But when you're talking about an NFL guy, he was 6'3", weighs 278 pounds, has rushed for over 6,653 yards and 69 touchdowns. He's had a 1,000-yard year almost every single year for the Green Bay Packers and of course, the Oakland Raiders. The guy was unbelievable. He was making $12 million a year, and now all of a sudden we're finding out that it was a misdemeanor, and now we get down to the juicy stuff, and that is, of course, the major felony of putting his wife in a choke hold, not once, but numerous times over a period of time. No room for it. And for the life of me, obviously you have to have some screws loose. You have to have some bolts missing or something up there. To be a guy like Josh Jacobs, to be in the league for 6 years, to be averaging over 1,000 yards every single year and over 10 touchdowns. He's averaging 4.7 yards per carry in his illustrious career. He's with the Green Bay Packers, another team that's obviously going to be playing in the playoffs. He's making $12 million a year, which is a good nut for a running back in the National Football League, and to do something so stupid, so heinous, and so just inexcusable to the love of his life. I don't get it. I will certainly let it go through law enforcement and go through the courts, and we'll see what happens. But, man, it's on tape. It's not a good look. So let's do a Josh Jacobs rule and kick those knuckleheads out of the National Football League. It's Bone Fragments right here on the Birmingham Racecourse and Casino starting lineup.
Hey, welcome to the Legend Cave, where few men have ever been allowed. I'm talking Kip Keefer, Monty Bauer, Tony Curry, Ronnie Van Zant, and Mick Jagger. Don't forget about Taylor Hicks and Feinbaum. They're my boys. Hey, I want to talk to you this week about the SEC football meetings. A lot of things happened this week. We found out that Pete Golden's under investigation by the NCAA. Way to go, Pete! Man, I knew I could depend on you, Pete Golden. I knew I could depend on you, brother. And Pete Golden has told the NCAA, if you open that envelope, I'm ratting on everybody. He's ratting on everybody. I love you, Pete. I love you, a dirty, low-down scoundrel. But you fit college football today, brother. You fit. And now let's talk about a few things that happened at the SEC meeting. The number one thing I want to tell you about is the SEC said if they don't get their way, they're taking their ball and going home. That's right. The SEC is taking the ball and going home. They're going to make their own league. Well, this is what I say about that. Kirby Smart, Greg Sankey, whoever in the SEC that actually listens, this is what I got to say about that. I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to live in a world where the SEC is the only conference, the only championship game. I don't want to be Georgia and Florida every year for a championship while Ohio State and USC's out west playing for another championship. Take my ball and go home. It pisses me off for that kind of comment to come from leaders. Who in this room of SEC and Big Ten can actually sit down, look at a man across the table, and actually be a grown man and come to a decision? I'm losing it. Tony, come slide me. Come slide me, Tony. Slide me. I'm losing it. Can we not come to an agreement? Take my ball and go home. Nobody wants to live in that world. Nobody wants a championship, Alabama against Georgia. I want to play Notre Dame, USC, Ohio State. Take my ball and go home. The fans are going to take their ball and go home. And then, oh, what a mess. You're going to become like NASCAR college football. You're already like Washington, D.C. We think, basically, as fans, y'all can't agree on anything. But here in the Legend Cave, we agree. Hey, don't be like the legend. Remember, it's just a game. Don't be plumb sports insane.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino turns dreams into reality. Like Roger M., who just won over $51,000. And Rebecca, celebrating a life-changing jackpot of $160,000. You could be the next to dance the Icky Shuffle with a big win.
Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! And you can be a winner too!
Don't miss your chance to be our next big winner at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Welcome, everybody. It's time for some Kipperspective. Today on the starting lineup, we are going to, I'm going to whet your appetite a little bit here because I'm certainly looking ahead with great anticipation to the college football season. I know it's still a few months away, but it'll be here before we know it. And I want to bring you up to date on some matchups that I'm really excited about right off the top, even beginning with week 1. Of course, there's the games that everybody knows about. Ohio State will be at Texas. I think that's going to be a very interesting game. Ohio State already given the number 1 designation in the country. I find that a little puzzling when a team loses 15 draft choices to the NFL. And of course, there's the mentality. I heard an analyst the other day say, well, I never worry about depth at Ohio State. If you have 15 guys drafted, I don't care how much depth you have, how many guys you sign, it's still going to take away from how good your team is compared to last year. And that team wasn't even good enough to get to the finals. They couldn't win their conference championship, and they got knocked out in their first game in the college football playoff tournament. So I'm really kind of doubting Ohio State. And also, this just in from the Kip Keefer Perspective Committee, we don't think Julian Sand is a superstar. He's mentioning for the Heisman again. I just don't get it. The guy was mediocre, in my opinion, last year. He piled up big stats against the weak sisters in the Big Ten and the cupcake games. But in the big stage, when the lights were brightest, that guy did not deliver. He's going to have to show me different. Texas, of course, they loaded up with a bunch of signees. Their payroll supposedly is going to be the highest in all of college football. Right now, sitting at about $48 million. Best team money can buy. Arch Manning was so good the second half of the year, he showed you what he could do. Well, I didn't see it. I thought Arch was kind of blah all season last year. Maybe he'll come back and be refocused and be the guy that everybody's been expecting. But I think Texas handles Ohio State in that first game in Austin. Also in that first week, you've got Clemson visiting Lane Kiffin and LSU. How intriguing is that? Last year, LSU went up there and beat Clemson. Everybody thought that was a monumental win. Turned out both teams, well, let's just call it like it is. They both sucked and had a terrible year. Brian Kelly, after the big win on opening night, didn't even make it through week 8. Dabo Swinney with 11 NFL draft picks, finished 6-6 for the season and lost his bowl game. Just a dreadful situation. It'll be interesting to see Clemson going to LSU with nothing to lose. Maybe they'll play real well. The next ones are not until week 3. And it amazed me, although I should mention, in the very first game, Auburn has sold their home game to the Atlanta Chick-fil-A Bowl. They're moving from Auburn to Atlanta to play Baylor. And the odd thing about that is Alex Golish's first start as head coach at Auburn, he will face DJ Lagway, the new quarterback who left Florida for Baylor. And DJ Lagway fell, of course, to Golish last year when he beat the Florida Gators in Gainesville and beat DJ Lagway. Now he opens the season against him this time. In week 3, the very first SEC game of the year for both teams, the Florida Gators without Lagway come to Auburn to play the Tigers. It's a pivotal game early in the year. The two new head coaches, John Summerall against Golish. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens there. Kind of a unofficial round-robin deal here with Florida, Baylor, and Auburn in those first couple weeks. And the game everybody's got to get ready for in week 3, the LSU Tigers and Lane Kiffin in Oxford against the Ole Miss Rebels. What is the atmosphere going to be at that game? Especially when Lane Kiffin just poured gas on the fire recently with all of his racial undertone comments and how difficult it was to recruit at Ole Miss because people were concerned about the safety of their athletes. Good grief. He couldn't have turned the temperature up any higher. They're going to not just need security for that game. They might have to deploy the National Guard. Legend and I attended an event down in Tuscaloosa back last season where Kalen DeBoer had 5 uniformed state troopers surrounding him to talk to a booster group. How many personnel is Lane Kiffin going to have? He might have to have the Navy SEALs and the Army Rangers on his protection detail because right now he is not a popular man in Oxford. I can't wait for these games. All of them are going to be exciting. I can't wait for college football, period. Let's bring it on. We got a couple more months, but let's get ready because it's going to be epic.
Welcome back to Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Starting lineup, Kip Keefer, the legend, and Tony Curry. And you have made a wardrobe change, Taylor Swift. What you got going on over there?
Well, I got to tell you, last Sunday night, Game 3, Western Conference Finals, Vegas Golden Knights, Colorado Avalanche. Avalanche heavily favored in the series. Golden Knights had won the first two in Denver. And I took my grandson. We got a picture of the guys at the game here. Check it out. This is my number one hockey buddy, biggest Golden Knights fan you've ever seen. We got down 3-0 in the first period. The Golden Knights roared back, won 5-3. Tuesday night wrapped up the series. The Vegas Golden Knights will be in the Stanley Cup Finals starting next Wednesday, looking like against the Carolina Hurricanes. Go Knights, go.
What is that, third time in 9 years? They've won a cup already, and of course they've already played for another cup a couple years ago. But for an expansion league, man, they've been on fire.
They just had a winning tradition from day one, and it was just such a great game the other night. Getting down 3-0 in a Stanley Cup game, you're pretty much toast. They scored 19 seconds into the second period, and the whole place just turned upside down.
What was it, 0-443 or something when you're down 3 goals?
Yeah, it's really hard to come back because it's so physical and so tight checking.
And I love to see that because the person who doesn't watch hockey as much as you do, when I see a game 3-0, I turn it off. And now I should realize, hey, listen, just because you're down 3-0.
I'm trying to get legend into hockey now.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, you should check it out. Hey, I wanted to ask you guys, too, since we're talking about hockey and, of course, talking some football. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Have you gotten your wedding invite yet?
No, I haven't. Hopefully, I don't.
Well, no, you're telling me you would not go to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce just for Travis Kelce? You wouldn't go?
No, I wouldn't throw rice. I'd throw something else at him. I can't stand him. Or his brother. Worst podcast ever. How y'all got 2 million fans is an indictment against crazy people like me.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a big fan just because he hates Cincinnati and he keeps talking about you got to fight for your right to party. But I thought it was interesting because evidently a lot of the people that are being invited to their wedding, and they're not being told where the wedding is going to be. It's going to be on July 3rd. You will find out the morning of.
Are you going?
But there have been a lot of people that are being invited, but they're not getting a +1.
Oh, God, that's ridiculous.
So if you're married, you get the +1. If you got someone who's been a life partner or someone that you've been with for a long period of time and you're not getting, and so several people who evidently are celebrities who are not currently dating someone are like, hey, listen, I'd love to come to your wedding, but I'd like to bring my +1. And they're like, no.
No.
And so I'm just going to ask you guys, if you don't get a +1, you're not going, right?
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm a +0, but I still won't go.
The last time I was at a wedding like that, I've actually been to a wedding like that.
Tony, you said you wouldn't talk about my wedding.
That was the Sarah Barker, Jay Barker wedding.
Oh, wow.
And they had something along the same lines where, obviously if you were married, you could bring a +1, but if you weren't, they didn't want to make a big deal. And they had a special deal, I think, with People Magazine where they took your phones and the whole 9 yards, and that was okay.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Exactly. All right, we'll get after it again next weekend. Belmont next weekend.
Well, we get the Belmont, Renegade, and Golden Tempo, the rematch.
I cannot wait. It's going to be fantastic, and everything else going on here at ABC 3340, the Birmingham Racecourse Casino starting lineup. Thanks for watching.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino starting lineup. Kip Keefer, Tony Curry, the legend, and Case Kiefer bring it every week from 10:30 to 11 on ABC 3340 every Saturday morning.